paired alongside the set, actually.
Super strong for how you can handle this Lee Sin. The Lee Sin power just went way down in terms of how many ways you can lock him down. There's a lot of CC for this comp. Like, every single champion can actually help lock down whoever's going to be playing this Lee Sin pick. And it's probably going to be Canyon, as we will see the Gragas pick come through here. And that's the, well, okay, they changed it to a Gangplank. The Gragas pick was a little bit up in the air,
I was like,
too.
are we back in January?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening here?
Okay, so Gangplank going to be the top pick here. Will be support Kench. For the side of Fredit Brion, it is going to be the jungle Viego. Set will go to the top side of the map. So everything ended up being very flexible to the last second, and then it became very obvious where everyone was going to end up going. Fredit Brion's composition is very powerful, very easy to execute as well. So many easy engage tools you have between the Ash Arrow, the Orianna Shockwave, Viego coming in and getting a stun. Set can run into the front of the team fight. Brahm's ultimate is going to be really helpful. But Damwon Kia have a comp that is harder to execute, but way more potent if played correctly, especially towards the later part of the game. And that's exactly where Damwon Kia wants to take this. And I feel like unless Fredit Brion get a pretty good early lead, it's not impossible to win with Fredit Brion's comp from behind, but against Damwon Kia, it might be.
Yeah, I think, you know, with the nameplates on, I look at this as something that Damwon Kia can win. With the nameplates off, I think Fredit Brion ran over.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely
agree.
Like, this is, you know, you've got the Freljordian bottom side of the map, which absolutely nullifies almost anything that you ever want to do most of the time. The Orianna into the Rise, great matchup, able to get priority there. Priority mid lane, absolutely fantastic for the Viego to get around his jungle and get things sorted. Viego in the jungle, still the same champion. And so not going to be suffering too much at the hands of those nerfs that we have seen. And there's a Tahm Kench in the bottom lane, which is not my favorite place for the Tahm Kench at the moment, but we'll see where the Beryl is going to continue his abyssal diving onto the enemies at level 2 and all of that fun stuff that we have seen from him. And of course, this is Damwon Kia, so they can do some pretty amazing things.
Just hopefully we're not seeing any abysmal dives. That's the one you want to avoid.
Yeah.
Beryl has been so polarizing as a player this season, and no one said a bad thing, I feel like, about him until Chronicle said, well, I think Damwon Kia could win the spring finals, and we were like, well, that's silly. But then we saw the weaknesses that Chronicle pointed out when we went into MSI. The group stage wasn't amazing there. There were some close moments, even losing almost to an LGL team. But then we come into this season, and it was so shocking after MSI. They changed their whole roster around this, and we'll see how we can close out the season right now. Again, on an old favorite here in the Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
I say close out the season. There's still, of course, several more games for them to play.
He's also playing the Hail of Blades Tahm Kench.
Oh, boy.
That's the absolute god tier Tahm Kench move. As Showmaker's just going to rotate over and push Lava out here. Even able to get a cheeky little ward onto the Raptor camp. Love that.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice play there.
Oh, don't Hoya, don't step up. This is the pirate. He's dangerous.
You do not want to tango with Khan right now.
Yeah. Oh, Khan even able to pull the wave as he lights that minion on fire. So Hoya's out of the woods for the moment.
The skin is very thematic here for Hoya.
Good sidestep there.
Clean.
Yeah, I like how the skin actually puts Hoya closer to the theme of a Gangplank, and Gangplank like an army dude, actually, so he's off theme with himself. As Khan actually has a losing record so far this season on his Gangplank, but he has been a Gangplank player for his entire career.
Oh, yeah.
As remember when this was Orianna focus, Orianna favored?
Maybe
not
it's so much.
Showmaker, I don't know.
Not so far here.
This is Lava should be okay, and should also just be able to get every single minion.
Yeah, he should.
And tidy things up quite nicely, I would assume. His Orianna has always been very good.
Unlucky that the aggro for that already damaged ranged minion was the one that got the turret, but he's going to do fine here in the lane, as mentioned. Did take a little bit of early damage before the minions clashed in the mid lane, and I think that's part of the reason why he stepped back, but it's going to be okay. Hoya actually played this champion 9 times this season in the top lane. It's not one that was a big standout for him. You think about the Gnar as being one of those champions he's played a lot.
Yep.
Big losing streak here, though, for Set at the moment. 9 games in a row.
Yeah, he's really not having a great time. Ever since Stridebreaker was nerfed or changed, just hasn't been the same Set that we've seen. That level of domination really hasn't been there. Plus, it was even before that his laning phase did take a hit, and that is continuing to be a struggle. And when it comes to laning phase, there's not very many champions that have the same level of control when it comes to capitalizing on less powerful top lane picks. Like, Gangplank is the guy, right?
Yeah. He is just going to control that. As you can see, Barrel, pretty high win rate on this champ here on the bottom side of the map. But yeah, like you say, Gangplank can bully, can be very frustrating, and if you make a single mistake, he can just run over you, and then the lane is over, and you can actually lose games based off of just one small mistake, and that threat is going to be ever present. But also, what he's going to offer you in terms of some of these early skirmishes and his global post 6 is going to be pretty annoying for Frederick Brion to deal with as well.
No, I would agree. It's sort of like losing to a Gangplank. You're like losing on behalf of a lot of your team, actually, because of the power of Cannon Barrage elsewhere. So it does feel a little bit bad as Damwon still holding on this bottom side, but of course the Ashe able to push in, the volley being quite frustrating. As Khan's just setting up kegs, having a good time.
Yeah, down here on the bottom side, been a fairly even exchange. We're going to see a fast back here from Henna. We'll rush back to the lane. We've already seen Lava return. Does not actually use his teleport, and actually will come back here with the prio he had and catch the wave. So a pretty good start here for Frederick Brion, but where we really are going to start to see the sparks fly is when this Rift Herald spawns. That's where we're going to start to see the power of this composition in its early state, and where they need to get a pretty decent lead against Damwon here. Because like you said, you know, with the nameplates off, you really like this composition for Frederick Brion because how it executes team fights later on. You know, even if you remove the scaling argument, or if you put it in, like, it's still pretty good. It's a really nice combo composition, does a lot of damage, but it's Damwon we're talking about, and that's a team that you just don't want to be going into these team fights hoping your combo's going to work out every time, because it just isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it should theoretically, right? Because their pick potential's massive, their team fight lockdown with this Orianna with the Shockwave as the game goes on just feels better and better. And yes, you know, Ryze has a lot of damage potential later, but he gets outranged by things like the Orianna and even the Ashe to a certain extent.
Okay, Lava
Canyon looking for an option here in the mid lane.
He doesn't know. Lava doesn't. No 6, though.
Yeah, Q is going to connect as Canyon gets in underneath the turret, but they're just going to get some extra damage. Lava down to about 300. And Canyon's just going to sustain himself there with the Siege minion. This is just going to brute force some lane priority, as we're only 5.5 minutes into this game. But still, just going to help Damwon get some control, get a good recall here for Showmaker as well.
Yeah, that was a really nice setup there. If he has 6, you can actually threaten the kill, but of course in this case, it's the most you're going to force, not even going to get a flash out of Lava.
Ooh, cute.
Yeah. This
nice triple barrel there.
This is painful to watch if you're the set. Just like, oh, how many of these minions can he hit? It's so hard.
So you can have a double barrel when it comes to guns, right? Can you have a triple barrel, like if you were to have a shotgun?
Yeah, I actually never thought about that before. I'm not a big gun expert, but my guess is like it's theoretically possible. I just don't know if it's efficient.
I don't know either. No stun is going to land here from Nocti as in goes to Light. Safeguard to try and get Canyon out of there, but Shockwave is going to come through, and that is first blood very comfortably. Showmaker now in trouble also, and he'll go down for the second kill. I don't think that flash was very wise as Damwon just get ran over in the river.
Yeah, the power of this comp in its early state is just so insane too. When you think about all the CC there is here and the explosive damage that you're going to have post 6, Showmaker not respecting the fact that his level 6 is not going to be able to do anything for you in this type of skirmish, whereas level 6 for Lava is arguably one of the best you can have in the mid lane for extreme kill potential, right? And they end up getting a huge amount of vision control around the Drake with this. And it looks like they're just going to reset and look for another fight here on the Rift Herald. No flash for Showmaker, no flash for Canyon means this should be basically a free win for Frederick Brion if executed correctly on this first objective. And that's going to be a ton of extra gold going over to them. They're already 1,000 gold in the lead right now with these 2 kills. I mean, they're surfing through this early game super, super easy.
Yeah, it should be pretty smooth. I mean, Cannon Barrage is there, right? So even if Khan is going to stay in lane, and he has, as we can see, teleport now on cooldown for Hoya. So if he's going to be answering the Gangplank, then Khan can 50% be in the fight, whereas, you know, Hoya not going to be so lucky. So maybe that will help them out, as we can see an Abyssal Dive coming through from Beryl, some aggression. The Unbreakable comes down, and that's just going to say no. And Beryl just sacrifices half of his health bar. Just wants to utilize some of that gray health as Showmaker moving down. Canyon's here as well. And yes, the Rift Herald is spawning, but maybe, just maybe, the bottom lane's just gonna die.
They have that Realm Warp, and there it is.
Yep, in goes Showmaker. He is gonna dive right in. The Cannon Barrage is there, so theoretically there's even 5 down here. Henna's also dead. Lava's teleported in, but maybe he's just a donation as Showmaker outside of turret range now trying to just fight him down. The Rune Prison is going to be there. The Shockwave lands onto absolutely no one, even if it had have actually gone off, but no, Lava had died too early anyway. As Damwon-Kia, I mean, yes, they're theoretically trading 2 plates, but they trade it for 3 kills, 2 plates of their own, and maybe even more.
Yeah, they are going to lose the Rift Herald here, which is what Umpty has rushed to as soon as he knows this is a lost cause. And I think this is the proactive play that Fred Brion just didn't see coming. They were like, okay, all we have to do is group for the Herald, and we're going to win that. Kind of like what I was saying. It should be a free Herald. It's going to be an easy street, you know, kind of team fight there. If they decide to challenge us, they probably won't. We're going to stay in lane. But what they don't see coming is that Damwon-Kia have that insane power of putting a Rise in the bottom side of the map. Even when he doesn't have his teleport, he's going to be there. It's a huge commitment of resources to actually kill that bottom side. And like you said, Lava just donates himself over. He thinks he can carry that, and it was, I think, a split last-second decision from him to go in there. They're actually going to get the Drake here as well. Damwon-Kia really turning this game around.
Yeah, it's a lot of power, and also Showmaker getting those 3 assists is important also. Because he gets a bit of that extra money, is able to even things out just a little bit more. Umpty, though, he is still very, very strong. As we have a look at this one more time, this is going to be that first blood that we saw onto Canyon. Got caught out of position. I thought when the stun missed that he might have been okay, but nope. The power of Braum in the early game.
He also just stayed so long there. Lava's just going to help clean this up. Showmaker, really unfortunate flash there that he ends up losing. And this is the play that, you know, you get punished for as Fred Brown without sending anybody bottom and just leaving Henna and Delight here, because it's not, I mean, this is essentially a 5-man on the bottom side because Khan is also cannon barraging.
Yeah.
It's like, well.
And it's also like the teleport was so late from Lava there as well, and then decides that he's going to try and run away, but that was never going to happen. And I think that Shockwave just straight up missed regardless.
Yeah, he didn't use his flash at least, so he knew he was dead in that regard and didn't waste his summoner, but still, this is a lot of gold going over to Damwon-Kia that didn't have to be this way if Fred Brion had played a little bit more proactively around the bottom side of the map instead of just grouping for a Herald fight that probably wasn't going to come. They still do get the Rift Herald, and you could see that right now Umpty, because he's been given a lot of extra time to farm, has a CS lead, has a gold lead, and he's going to get a little bit more of that with the Herald when it drops down. They're going to look for a play right before that.
Yep, some mist has been put into position here as Beryl's got the Abyssal Dive, so he's going to be fine. Canyon also lying in wait, as he's going to get snagged by the volley, but no harm, no foul. And next Drake is going to be this windy one, as Khan is going to find a way. That's a lot of damage, but there's the flash ult. Immediate flash out there from Khan, and he is going to be absolutely fine, but still, trade of flashes here for our top lane. Yeah. As Khan is going to retain all of this control, and he's got oranges to eat as well, so he'll be okay. Just going to continue just shooting Hoya over and over again.
He's got oranges, a corrupting pot, and 2 biscuits. So he's like, I'll take that flash trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unfortunately for Hoya, he's like trying to back, but he's been slowed down. This is nasty. Henna.
I've seen this one before. This isn't a replay, right? This is actually just Henna dying again as goes. Tanks up the turret for quite a long time, but gets out of range just in the nick, and he's going to be all right.
Well, this is starting to become a bit much early on in this game here for Damwon-Kia. They have
This is also a bot lane snowball wall.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see this from Damwon-Kia that often.
And everyone's playing around them. So, you know, Damwon-Kia are not just winning 2v2s, they're just committing resources to the bottom side of the map because Khan doesn't need any help on the top side, right? And because of this, you know that Umpty is more likely to be hovering around the top side, which he has been. They've got a lot of vision around that. They have a vision, a control ward in that brush on the top side of the map as well. So they have so much info there. So they know these sorts of dives are completely safe. And when Fred and Brion aren't protecting their bot duo, it's just going to start to snowball. There's a lot of gold going up to Nephelios, who already has his Immortal Shield Bow now. This is pretty insane, the advantages that Damwon-Kia have right now. And the Rift Herald's about to time out.
Yeah. Where is it actually going to go, Umpty? We've got to put it somewhere. As he is towards the top side of the map. Might just throw it down mid, as we're going to see Henna die again.
Yeah.
No flash, no chance.
As you can see, Delight is not nearby, and he knows he can't do anything to save him, so doesn't even come down, just heads up to the mid lane. And yeah, the Rift Herald gets tossed in mid.
Yep. It's going to be able to grab some plates here, as we can see. But it looks like Lava's not going to be able to get that second to last one. But still, He's ahead by 1 creep. And this Fred Brion comp is still going to do what it says on the tin as this game goes on, right? They've got Enchanted Crystal Arrow, they've got things like that, but the problem is that they're not showing the coordination that Damwon Kia have demonstrated in this early game to anywhere near that level, right? We know what their power is. We saw that with the First Blood. But these continued dives on the bottom side, the fact that we're getting towards a 20 CS advantage for an Aphelios who's going to be doing so much more consistent damage and so much sooner than the Ashe as well, especially with this shield bow build that Ashe now goes towards. Really dangerous times. We're going to see some upside down League of Legends.
Okay, Canyon is unseen, by the way. This ward has gotten so much value for Damwon Kia this whole game.
Kick flash available as Facebreaker lands onto Showmaker. Another Showstopper comes down, but I don't know about this one. Okay, Umpty is going to get in here. Do they have... No, they don't. No CC, that's the kick out immediately onto Henna. Cannon Barrage comes down, Ghost doing a lot of damage, but I don't think it's quite going to be enough. Moonlight Vigil, not able to stop it, as they do manage to grab that plate, and that's even more money going over to the Aphelios.
Yeah, no, the thing is, even with the flash kick not actually quite securing the kill here, it's worth it because it gives you so much money here as the Aphelios, which is already where Ghost has all of the lead for Damwon Kia, essentially. He's 1-0 and 3. Now he's got additional plates. They already got that turret on the bottom side. Look at the plate gold. 5 for 5 on the bottom side, now 3 on the top side. And all of that is going over to Ghost. He gets the full completion here on the top turret. So he's got 2 turrets now under his belt. And he's going to go back and buy a second item here in just a moment. And it's like, uh-oh, this is not supposed to happen. This is not where you should be right now as Fred Brion with this comp. We saw how powerful it can be in early skirmishes, but they just didn't macro correctly around the bottom side. They didn't play around Showmaker's Realm Warp. And those dives were consistent. Now it's just such a... I want to say kind of crapshoot in terms of what Fred Brion can actually do in these upcoming team fights. They can have these amazing engages. Like you said, it does what it says on the tin. But your damage numbers are just so low compared to where you want to be. And the Aphelios is going to carry those longer fights.
They're going to need to really coordinate to make sure that this happens. Because Umpty can still pop off. And he is still very strong at this point in the game. As Shirley... going to reset for the moment, moving back towards Ghost, as we can see Hoya get himself out of the way, but doesn't have Showstopper available right now. Teleport to come in. This is going to be a 5v5, and maybe this is where Fred Brion can get the work done, as the orb is going to get reset back towards Lava. Let's keep our eye on it, as I believe that was Shirley going over to the Viego, who can now go invisible. The arrow's going to connect onto Beryl. Flashes. There's some gray health as well. Good Rune Prison onto Umpty as the ball is being respected. Damwon just moving around it. Showstopper comes in. That is going to be the Shockwave immediately popping the Tahm Kench, and the Gangplank is going to go down as well. Showmaker off to the side, but he's going to get caught, and the Viego does indeed manage to find his window.
And this is the power of this team composition, doing exactly what it says, right? And this is exactly the kind of situation that Fred Brion built this composition for, is this scrappy skirmish where they can have an insane combo. The engage there from Hoya was beautiful. Lava has the follow-up Shockwave. Damwon Kia played the early parts of it so well. Like you said, they played around the ball. They were like, okay, Shockwave could be the engage tool, but what they didn't see coming was the set going into the middle of the team fight with a ball on him to set up for an amazing combo. And they're so patient. They get the smite onto the Drake, or rather onto the Herald. They can't get the eye here, but look at how they're still pressuring, still threatening, because they know in just one moment, Hoya can turn this around. And it's Canyon who actually makes the mistake of giving him the Taxian. The Facebreaker plus the Shockwave is massive damage here. Then Viego's ready to reset.
Yeah, it's just so much AoE lockdown, really beautifully done, and this may put Fred Brion in that position to really take control of this one.
That ward in the bush is so huge because it allows Hoya to know that he has a huge opportunity if Canyon comes through. And he's like, I'm going in, I'm going in. And that's exactly what he does.
And I think also maybe it was Damwon Kia with a slight mistiming on that Showstopper as well, because it only just barely came back off cooldown.
That's true.
And so Canyon going in there may have actually thought that there wasn't the ultimate available.
Yeah.
Sometimes those calculations can be a little bit difficult, especially when they're right about to happen.
Sometimes it just is that simple because, you know, in League of Legends and pro play, you just constantly say the numbers. You know, solo queue people will type them in chat, you know, occasionally of where the ults are before fights like this. And if you're just a few seconds off, you miscalculate, then you're like, okay, I can go in there.
Really beautifully timed from Fred Brion, though. Not actually fighting for the Rift Herald, fighting for actually winning the fight.
Yeah, Showmaker caught.
Yeah, Umpty is going to dive on in already. So much damage. as he does phase rush to get himself out of the way. Umpty, that was a bit of an unfortunate flash, but it doesn't actually matter. Uses it to close the distance. And I am sorry, Umpty, it was absolutely perfect. Never you mind.
He has Heartbreaker available, and the execute damage there is amazing. Also, the arrow from Henna, you know, shows that they were clearly trying to make this a set play from the beginning. He set it up from a very long distance away. If he ends up hitting the arrow, he doesn't have to flash there, gets the kill easy. It misses, but you know what? That's worth it, absolutely. They're controlling the side lane, so this Ryze isn't getting the farm that he would normally have somewhat for free in a scenario like this when you have a Lisa in jungle to kind of back that up. So Fredit Brion, once again, wrestling back control of this game to a certain extent. They're still a little bit far behind in the gold, but this is definitely winnable.
Yeah, and you can see just if they manage to find these 5v5s, it gets really difficult as Canyon possibly going to get caught out of position here. Safeguard on cooldown. He's going to have to try and kick Umpty away. Gets the knock-up as well as Khan is in position. That's the flash over the wall, but Khan is still very strong as Canyon avoiding some Qs. Cannon Barrage goes down. That's the Devour, as in goes Canyon once again. The Viego falls, and Damwon Kia, they still got it.
They still got it. That was a beautiful fight from Damwon Kia. Things looked like they might have gone to take another turn for the worse here, but it's a really nice play from Hoya to actually flank there. He has the teleport coming through and then ends up getting the showstopper in. He flashes for it as well, but Damwon Kia have the barrage to buy just enough time. And Khan's barrages this game have been so good. It's exactly where they need to be every single time, and it's only going to get better. The value is only going to go up.
The way that he waits for the overcommit before throwing it down, there's a lot of people that would just throw it in there immediately. Yeah, Umpty charged
They didn't see me, they didn't see me. He's like, I'm going in. The arrow misses here. And you can see the flash is obviously super buffered by the root there, but still just Heartbreaker's in and gets the kill.
Yeah, all too easy.
And he says Ryze doesn't ult, yeah. Okay, Umpty.
I love this walk around, so he guarantees the knock-up as well to get that extra time.
So beautifully done. Gets the double there. Does have to flash. And then the Cannon Barrage timing is so perfect here, because now it's like, okay, I'm hitting 3 people with this, and we can actually get a kill. And Kenny says, yeah, we can. Goes in and executes the Viego there.
Really nicely done, Khan. Getting a bit of poke damage here, as we can see. Serpent's Fang, as well as his Trinity Force, have been completed already. The gangplank is very strong right now. That Cannon Barrage especially is just going to rip through people. As speaking of rip through people, Ghost with the Infernum, just slicing Henna apart. Henna is in a really rough spot this game.
Yeah, and it's like, part of it is more on his team than it is on him. He just wasn't given the resources required to actually stay in lane and be relevant. Those 2 deaths early on just kept him out of lane. Have really given the opportunity for Ghost. Remember, Ghost took 2 turrets this game, so the 1-0 and 5 does not tell the story of how much money this man is holding right now. Plus the 5 plates.
There's also the fact that Canyon is like down 20 CS or 5 camps, and he's still got a 300 gold bounty, so something must be going right for him in the jungle as well, as we're going to see Khan try and run away from Umpty here. Cannon Barrage goes down though, and Heartbreaker's already on cooldown. Let's see whether Khan can actually... No, he's not going to survive. Facebreaker comes on in, but has he bought enough time for Showmaker to get himself a kill? Rune Prison comes down, and yeah, that's a very dead Gangplank or Umpty.
Yeah.
Or Viego, depending on what you want to say. That confused the heck out of me. Didn't have enough oranges in the backpack, though, after Khan had fallen down.
You could see Umpty was pretty frustrated with that. He actually like stood up in his chair for a second on the player cam, because that was a little bit of a miscalculation on his escape there. Doesn't have flash, of course, but still ends up getting a pick, so 1 for 1.
Speaking of picks, Delight might be going down. No, he's got a big door, so he'll be okay. Lava moves in, but that orb is in the wrong spot. That's a shockwave, bit of a hula hoop there. I liked it. Going to do a fair bit of damage to Canyon.
Yeah, ends up being a trade there, but Canyon gets to keep his ult, so he wins the trade, and they're going to look for a very early Baron here. Wow. I mean, it's not that early, but considering the position they have, plus the damage they have at this stage with an extremely fed Aphelios, like, it's really, really not that early, right? Like, to actually start this, and if
you can do it if Fred and Brion don't actually come and check, right? Because with Cannon Barrage on cooldown, like, it's extremely risky. So they are just going to test the waters and then move on away.
But if this is unscouted, you can definitely get away with it, for sure. Khan, this is the pick that we saw earlier. He buys so much time here and also gets a ton of damage done. He does eventually die, but as you could see, Showmaker gets the teleport in, and now there's just no way out. You got rooted twice.
Yeah, and finding the flux bounce was pretty nice there from Showmaker to make sure that he did get the snare. So Good stuff, and now Showmaker's got a couple of items, equalized with Lava, who's also quite strong, as we can see, 0, 1, and 5, with a whole bunch of CS to his name as well. Arrow going to get flashed here by Beryl, good respect.
Yeah, you definitely need to have that respect because that's a really long stun and you're going to be dead no matter what. If you end up getting caught by that, you're just going to be locked down. Now, look at the vision control here for Frederick Breon. After that attempt from W9D1, they backed off and they actually have a massive vision lead. But I think the thing is, you can't really bait anything with this or scare W9D1. They have a ward on the Baron pit itself, but also even if they didn't, they're like, well, you can't do this. That would be ridiculous.
Well, speaking of ridiculous, this could be difficult as Canyon's going to move on in. Looks for the Q, finds it onto Henna somehow. As Umpty taking a bit of damage here, and W9D1 look to have control. Cannon Barrage is in the chamber. So you do always have to be very careful when you are at a man disadvantage. With the set in the bottom lane, Frederick Breon should have a lot more difficulty fighting this one out.
That one ward on the Baron pit is so valuable.
Might just get picked off here. Yeah, he puts up the door, goes golden, but I have a feeling he's still going to... Oh no, able to stand beside the minion, but yeah, Abyssal Dive is going to do it. And that is going to be the pick. Cannon Barrage just to slow the approach from Frederick Breon, who know they have to group up. And Showmaker says absolutely not. Everfrosts the Orianna to death. And if they don't have all of their pieces of the puzzle, Frederick Breon falls apart. And now W9D1 think that it's enough for them to take a Baron.
Oh, they absolutely can here. They're just going to rush over and take it. Unfortunately for Frederick Breon, they don't have really great any ways to turn this. They have an Ash Arrow, but there's not enough damage to get Umpty resets.
Well, there's some barrels going down. Umpty taking a lot of damage here as Canyon looking for his opportunity. Doesn't have the kickback available just yet. As Beryl taking a lot of damage. That's a lot of great health that he has, though, and he's able to move out of the way of Hoya. I'd be triggered if I was here. I'm not going to lie to you. That was such a low health Tahm Kench, and W9D will take the top laner and the Baron.
It's been such a good game from Hoya. He's had really nice engages. His reaction time has been so fast, and in this moment, like you said, it's extremely frustrating that Beryl is just so difficult to kill. But in this situation, right, as Frederick Breon, you lose Delight, and you're selling the idea of a potential Baron take here, and you're trying to scare W9D into walking into your brush where you have all that vision, but they have a ward on Baron that Frederick Breon can't see and don't know, so this is just a big sham. Like, W9D know it, so they get the pick on the barrel, and they're like, okay, I know exactly where everyone is. Once you get this second kill, unfortunately with no real damage outside of the set, who was 3-0 actually before this, you just don't have a way to really turn this. Look at Henna does like less than 0 damage, unfortunately, in this fight. And Hoya's like,
so many of these ashes that just do nothing.
And Hoya's like, I can almost get Beryl, but not quite. And if they get a single reset for Umpty, maybe you could stop the Baron, but it's just, unfortunately, just a little bit too little too late at this point. And W9D have such a massive lead that I just don't know if there's any coming back at this stage. Like, you're just way too far behind. Your Orianna had a lead, and that's falling apart now.
And also, I mean, Cyrilda's just got completed by Khan as well. Like, this gangplank is so huge. Cannon Barrage still available as well. And in a sieging scenario, Cannon Barrage is so valuable. As W9D1 now looking to collapse. Showmaker's on the bottom side. Realm Warp is available. Ghost will be able to take this one down. That is the kick, but it misses just a little bit there onto Canyon. But it doesn't seem to matter too much as Hoya will get taken down extraordinarily low and then die just after the show gets stopped. Now Lava possibly in trouble as well, as Showmaker was looking to try and get over that wall, but unable to quite position himself right to mix that one up. Can do some pretty funny things with the Realm Warp, but it didn't quite work, as Siege Minion just going to get buffed up and left here to continue getting a lot of damage, as we're looking for Soul Point at the same time. Yeah, they're taking lunch money, but they're also taking the pack lunch as well. Oh my goodness.
It's pretty nasty, as Umpty has, they don't know he's there, but what are you going to do? You're just going to run away. Haha, you can't see me until you do, and then I'm going to leave. And Canyon gets this Drake for free solo. They're going to clear all of that vision. What was left of it there on the bottom side of the jungle. They can reset with the last part of the Baron buff. They have the inhibitor down, so they have a lot of map control. And there's only 35 seconds left, so they can't really get much more out of this Baron right now. But, I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, we're 27 minutes into the game. You're getting an inhibitor. You have a huge gold lead. Like, as W9D, it's just time to get more items and win more. As this kick from Canyon,
it was a good flash from Henna. It was a good flash from Henna to avoid the kick flash out of positioning.
It's crazy.
It still wasn't enough, right?
Yeah, and like even though he avoids it with his flash, like he has to flash, and Canyon just sets up that threat, gets to keep his flash. Like just small moments like this when you're ahead take away tools of an already very vulnerable Ashe.
Yeah. And man, watching Canyon play like this with this level of confidence, You're reminding me of Worlds Canyon.
Yeah, it's like, you know...
As that's a shockwave. A lot of damage there onto Showmaker and Khan. Not exactly all that influential, though, as we can see, as the arrow sails majestically between the champions, as Beryl's just going to start nomming on this Grey health. Canyon looking for Hoya here, as it's a 1v1, top laner versus jungler, as I'm pretty sure my money's on the jungler plus all of his super minions.
Yeah, plus...
That are kind of really changing this one.
His Sterak's proccing there really nicely. He's super tanky.
Oh, Moonlight Vigil goes down. That's the cannon barrage, as well as Canyon looking for his opportunity. He finds Lava with a beautiful kick. Henna's already dead as the flash forward from Umpty looking for his opportunity, but no! Oh, tries to dive onto Showmaker. He gets devoured and then goes straight back in to murder the set. And now Damwon Kia will continue the push on the top side.
This might actually be the push to end. I think there's a pretty good chance with Umpty down for 35. Your Ashe is dead. You don't have a way to clear these minions very well. I mean, you've got only the Orianna, and she's going to do a decent job, but Damwon Kia can start to threaten kills here.
Yeah.
They have the wave.
We got another serrated Dirk as well for Khan. Like, these barrels need to be mega respected. My goodness. First Nexus turret goes down. I think the next one's not long for the world. 30 minutes is a pretty quick game, as that's another showstopper onto Showmaker, but he's got himself a stopwatch, of course. Look at the AoE as Ghost just murders everyone. Henna also going to suffer the same fate. Was that a quadra kill just randomly at the end of the game? I believe it was. And the Nexus is going to go down. Damwon Kia with a statement game in game number 1 against Predator Prion. Remember, the team that was able to take them out in the first round. They're going to savor this victory for just a little while.
It is a kind of weird...
Is this the pentakill? Can we get the pentakill? Oh! There's the dive in. He managed to get the kill. Is that the penta? I don't know.
I don't think so.
The game's over.
I don't think so.
I wanted to see it come up on the screen. I didn't even know whether it actually was a penta at the end there. It was all just so chaotic. But I think it might have been. Maybe it was unofficial. I'm not sure. But in the end, Ghost gets another one of his pentas.
I think the POG vote is a really difficult one for me for this one, because I look at the value that both Khan did globally with his ultimate on top of Ryze, who, even though he didn't do great in lane, was there to collapse and actually remove Ashe from the game.